92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam Oracle Chinedu. How you doing? I feel like I've not been here in an entire century. It's been a minute. Well, on this part of the show, oh my goodness, I did not play the promo. I apologize. You see, that promo basically encapsulates all that needs to happen on the show. And there's no amount of English I can speak that would sound better than that. So a friendly reminder of what's about to happen, and then you hear the voice of, oh my goodness. Anyways, let me just play that promo.
Structure,
lease,
construction,
edifice,
infrastructure,
masterpiece,
residential, industrial, commercial.
Define, design, refine. Architect's World. Delving into the field of design. Opening the mind to possibilities, highlighting opportunities for everyday living. Architects World, Tuesdays 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
We start you off in the morning, keep you all day, and keep you company, all night long. We are
92.3
Nigeria Info. The first talk station of the nation.
Yes, welcome back. It's Architects World 92.3 Nigeria Info, and the ambassador of the built environment is right here, Architect Bozimo. Hello, Architect Bozimo.
Hi, good afternoon, Sam. Great to be here. Excellent, thank you.
This voice of yours, a couple of people in certain quarters have told me that it is causing problems. It can heal the sick and maybe make the dead reconsider coming to life.
Not serious.
How's the week been for you?
Well, personally, it's been manageable, but nationally, it's not been very good. The news has been very foreboding.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
And once in a while, I just try to avoid those headlines, but you can't help it.
It's part of your work.
It is.
I'm listening all the time, and it's quite troubling.
I have a couple of therapist friends, psychologists, so I'm going to give them a call just to get checked.
Exactly.
To be certain that everything is still working.
Completely.
All right. Another thing I love about the show, besides the idea that it's supposed to help us learn a thing or two, is it moves with the times, with the trend, and this topic.
That's a lot of destruction. It's illegal. It needs to stop. Somebody has to get a hold of it and put a stop to it. The thing about being in a profession like mine is that as I hear that news and I mourn the losses, I immediately start thinking ahead, as architects do, to what comes next. You've burned down a station. The easiest and, in my view, sloppiest thing to do is to slap a coat of paint on it and just refurbish it. That's possible. But I think we'll be putting a band-aid on an already bad policing wound. I think these terrible situations leading to destruction of police facilities gives us a juncture at which we can entirely reconsider what that word police station ought to look, feel, and function like. And this is an opportunity to bring in more modern techniques and facilities so that from this tragedy can rise the phoenix of reform. We already have all sorts of situations that we don't like, and I would argue that indeed the people who don't like them the most are the police. Yes, they go there every day to work, but imagine them working in a better physical facility. I think it would affect directly how they relate to each other, how they relate to the public, and how the public perceives police and policing. So today we can just talk about how do you reform that police station, which in many cases has been the same as what the colonialists left in Nigeria over 60 years ago.
Are you taking away the counter?
The counter will always be part of it, but
no, that counter needs to go because you see that counter. Nobody crosses it and remains the same.
Look, we've heard of, when you stay in front of it, you are still you are flirting with freedom. The moment you are brought behind the counter, normally changes happen. But that is also part of what we're talking about. Okay. What is that functionality? And that's where the conversation can get off. When we're talking about policing in Nigeria, we will start from the people involved in those stations. That's right. Of course, being a police station, the police personnel, male and female, have to be there. Then you have other administrative people. You might not know it. You have other people who are counselors. A police department is also supposed to be a place where you can have community outreach as a central function there, which helps break down that barrier between the police and the populace. Remember, right now, there's all this talk about how people might have been informants, but they have heard or they have experienced situations where they inform and then they become targets. So there's already a real need to rebuild trust between the police and the people. Now, the way a facility functions, looks, and appears can either encourage you to come close to it or keep you far away. At the same time, there's this delicate balance you must do to ensure that the people in the station, whether it's the police, the admin staff, the janitorial staff, other classes, because police also have to go through continuous learning themselves about new policing processes. Anybody in there should have the sense that they are secure. So right from the site planning, how do vehicles approach the place? Where are they parked? What kind of distance do you have between vehicles? Because you have to think of everything. You are doing what they call hardening the building without necessarily making it look like a fortress. Because when it's a fortress, then it doesn't seem to attract people. These are the elements that you will now apply techniques and talent to balance off and create police stations that work very well for law enforcement officials and also for the general public who needs to engage with them. It's not everybody that going to a police station has a problem. Yeah. Sometimes that's a very good place where information can be disseminated from, because police are supposed to, of course, be widely seen and dispersed throughout, your society. So it's a place where community, when you're doing things for young men and women, you should have that link between the police and the populace. And you smile, I know. But I always give an example of many years ago, Sam. I lived in Lagos, and the policeman who was on the beat in my house area was a known quantity to everybody there. Yeah. He was so known, he was a friend. When he was passing by, people would give him cold, pure water to drink. So that was not a person that we were afraid of. And because of that relationship, he would know a young person like me. And if there was a strange face in the area, he wouldn't necessarily intimidate the person, but at least he might curiously ask me, who is that? That was the best way to nip potential wrongdoing in the bud. Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy who points out the problems,
That's okay. I'm here to solve problems.
I know. Whenever you and I talk, it's good cop, bad cop. And most times, I'm the bad cop. And it's something I have to play till 3 p.m. So, here's the thing. This is how you know that a place is worth visiting. If students of schools can go to that place for an excursion.
That's a good measure. I like that. that.
You have radio stations.
Of course, we have a couple all the time.
They always come
here.
The airport also gets its fair share of visitations and stuff. I'm thinking of the public institutions, maybe even private, but some kinds of institutions usually get that kind of traffic.
You're right.
I don't know the last time any school planned an excursion to a Nigerian police station. And if things were working according to the plan you have, that's what it's supposed to be. Completely.
We should have that immersion, that joint sense of mission between the people who are looking after us and we who are supposed to be helping in security, because truly the police is best able to function when they have feelers and information from the populace. So you're right. What would it take? That's a very good question, to make people willing to visit a police station. First of all, it's a change in perception, a change perhaps in attitude too, because right now, unfortunately, the feeling is nothing on the surface of planet Earth should take you to a police station. And it's unfortunate because I've said often from personal experience that I know many police who are sterling characters. No, I'm not with them on patrol. I cannot swear an affidavit about their behavior in XYZ place. But as people, I've got to know them, and they strike me as superlative people.
Yeah.
I believe that personal assessment I've done of them must at least play out when they are doing their professional duties. They wake up every morning, as we have seen too often in the past few days. Any given day, they could meet their end, just doing their work. So the station where they spend X number of hours a day and days a week has to be of a certain quality, so that when they are there, because it's not all the time they're on patrol, they have desk duties, they're detectives, they do all sorts of paper collation, tracking clues and all that, and that's with paper. We're talking about what the modern facilities ought to be. You ought to have computer systems linked from station to station with a wide area network. So what are the technologies? How do we accommodate all that stuff? What kind of energy requirements should be there? In a country like ours that's energy poor, we must build in sustainable energy systems with things like solar panels and inverter batteries, so that even if most of the facilities go down, the nerve center, the IT doesn't. These and more are what would make up the brief. How we do these new stations is what I'm now discussing. First of all, you would have to engage with the police, different levels, the top management, the people on the street, and everybody in between. You'd have to understudy them. And we have the standards already, but you see, in many cases, the standards are designed for some of the foreign countries. So we would have to domesticate them with how we do our policing here. There's an opportunity to engage with them, and because we study things like psychology and all the things, we can now even talk with them about ways to make their work better. You now take detailed studies of their activities in and around the stations, how they approach it. Some of them, right now, the typical thing happens that the police come dressed in their uniforms. But it should be possible for a policeman or woman to come dressed in their civilian clothing and change. So you have to provide things like locker rooms. Of course, gender separated. And there's an immense amount of detail for something that, yes, we typically associate with the counter. There is so much more behind that counter that ought to be in place. The holding rooms. Right now, we all talk about the justice system not being what it ought to be, overcrowding. Well, this is the chance to properly engage that situation. The armory. There should be some equipment, some weaponry at the place. How secure is it? If an informant is coming to the station, there should be a way for that person to be able to come in a confidential manner, so that they're not seen. That AB went to the station yesterday. It looks like he must have been the one that said, So these are all considerations. At the end of the day, the station will function. The police will do their job better. And because of all the dangers, they'll be better protected, because we must protect them first and foremost.
As a citizen, am I supposed to just know where the armory is in a police station?
No, we shouldn't. I mean, why? What good would it do for me to know where the armory is randomly?
Yeah, because every time there's a report of attack on police station, I always wait for the second sentence. And the armory was
raided.
So it basically looks and feels like everybody knows where this thing is.
I think not. Perhaps, okay, we don't know, for instance, whether some of the people who have done some of these crimes have been service people who may be familiar. Because, look, you are in a station, you may be familiar enough with the layout of a standard station for you to guess where certain things may be. As a visitor, I don't know how much about this place as you do. Same thing for people who may have some paramilitary or a law enforcement background. If they're involved in some of these things, unfortunately, they may be able to guide others. But at the end of the day, even that place should be as secure as practicable, so that in horrible events like this, you still secure the equipment.
Well, it should
And
be
these
secure.
are part of the design considerations we're talking about. You talk about a building, the exterior walls, for instance, and windows. The budget may have to go up because the structure should be bulletproof. You should not be able to attack policemen readily or easily. There are many design considerations. All the time, you're still trying to create that accessibility so that, you know, a teenager who is hearing about his friends planning something bad could tell his mom and say, let them pass by the station. You know, there are many ways to consider the accessibility versus the hardening of that place. And that is in the landscaping. You create bollards, they look beautiful because they're looking like landscape elements, but they can stop a car or a truck from running up there. These are considerations. So the police stations should be reformed. These tragic events we've been hearing about could be that trigger. Talking about access and accessibility, I should be able to walk into the station without feeling a sense of dread to report something. Who takes my report? How is it processed? Is it in paper? Is it on the computer? If you know, we've watched enough police procedural programs to know that technology could be a very useful element.
Yeah.
So you'd have your CPU, central processing server room. You'd have terminals at different desks. If we go as far, we could even put some computers immobile. But honestly, I'll stop at the station right now, because every time after a governor donates Hilux to the police, in exactly 1 week, those vehicles are unrecognizable.
1
So,
week.
maybe not that long. They look terrible. I don't know whether it's part of how the police feel about the cars, but they look so decrepit. The tailgate is normally pressed down. It can no longer lock. The fenders are damaged. You ask yourself, come on, if this were your vehicle, would you do that? But back to the building itself.
Crime fighting is a serious business. We don't.
You're something like Dio here.
good
No, I
people
don't
of Rivers State
understand. Exactly. I don't
misunderstand
understand, right? If I knew, I wouldn't be saying all this.
Oh, my goodness.
Fine. So you need that that confidentiality. You need the communication between the stations and the people in the field. So these are all budgetary items. Okay, you have policemen going out with radios and walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
When they come back, these all have to be charged. So you need to provide charging stations.
That's right.
And it has to be seamless. When you come in, you have taken this off, taking that off, hooking this. All those functions are what the architect would study with the personnel. When the car comes, where is it fueled normally? Where is it parked normally? How is it washed? How is it serviced? All those it may not be at the station, of course. There might be a central depot for that. But it's that connection between the building, the people, and the populace that architecture can best solve, especially after these terrible events of the past few weeks.
Okay, so what are things that every police station must have? I mean, if you had the privilege of visiting police stations in different countries, across different continents, no matter how different they may be, I'm sure there will be similarities.
There are fundamentals. Police stations are about people.
If someone says, like it's a Bozimo, design I wouldn't say standard police station, and name just 5 things that every standard police station must have, and you had just 5.
For instance,
what would those 5 things be in order of priority?
At least you have that space for engaging with the public, which is currently the counter.
Okay, space.
You have the space for officials. You have the staff, the police, who are working cases, perhaps. You have holding rooms, because there are situations where you must hold. You're not prosecuting yet, you're investigating, you must hold. But part of their work is to ensure that the human rights of people are not abused. So you have that 24-hour rule, you must obey it. You have the holding rooms. You have some, at least, cafeteria-type facility, because these are people, they work long hours. So you must make sure that they can cater to themselves in and around the station. And lastly, you'd provide for car parking, both for visitors in some cases and for the staff themselves. You see, right now, anytime you're driving past a police station, you see these dead cars outside. In fact, in our country, when you're driving and you see some dead cars, you know there's a police station nearby. Yeah. That is not on. There should be a proper way to take cars to an impound place. If you must impound it, let it be in a central place where it's properly recorded, the date it came in, and all. You see, there are technicalities that the police know best. But that whole thing, when you see scrap vehicles outside a police station, why? And that already tells you things that you wish you weren't able to know when you're coming in. It doesn't set the best scene. Central to all I'm saying is this: these stations have been subject to horrible attacks. We've lost entirely too many people. One single policeman dead is one too many. Not talk of the numbers. We're entering the teens and 20s now.
Truly.
It's wrong. It's criminal. It must be stopped. That, next to that, is the facilities where these people unfortunately lost their lives have been destroyed in many cases. Rather than just going back to that ancient colonial structure that has not kept up with life as it has evolved, this could be the chance where we can say, you know what, let's do something. It doesn't have to be huge, but it has to have the fundamental parts we talked about just now.
Okay. Now, do Nigerian police stations have interrogation rooms? You see, as much as Hollywood is revered for its fiction, it's also loved for the part of reality that it paints. Every time I see a movie where they take some guy into some room, there's a chair, there are lights. In some cases it's a bulb hanging all the way down. In other cases it's pretty wonderful light, and the interrogator is on the other side asking you questions. And then there's this mirror. There's always that,
one-way mirror.
Yes, people outside can see in, but you can't see.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, do we? I don't know. I've never had the reason to get in there, but I feel like we don't have that, and it's too Hollywood mainstream for it not to be a part of.
I would also admit I have never been interrogated by the police.
Yeah, because I'd like to know what our interrogation rooms look like.
I think we have some spaces. They may not have. It may not be a separate room. Where I've had a case, I was robbed and I had to be in the police station for hours. And they had an open hall where this person was talking, asking you questions in a table within earshot. You're able to overhear the other person. So that's not good for confidentiality, So the police themselves are maybe not able to get the best out of their interaction. This is what can be addressed. You can create proper rooms. It could be little cubicles. It could be larger rooms like we've seen on TV. All these will depend on the budget we make. But I repeat, we have to determine now that we must put that budget towards our policing, because that is the bedrock of civil society. You cannot avoid equipping the police themselves and the facilities that they operate from. Otherwise, you run more of the existing risk of more lawless behavior, and the police need the support. Believe me, I would argue that walking into this studio as you do each day, the environment here sets you up for the excellence you portray on air. If it were dingy and dark and not air conditioned, you could do your work. You are the professional you are. But I dare say we'd hear a different thing outside. It's the same concept for the police. Really? We complain. I've been a victim of police brutality, etc. So, I'm no better, if you will, than anybody else. But I'm a professional, and I can see that this moment is an opportunity that can be seized for good.
Okay. We'll take a break, and up next, you tell me if you have been to a police station for excursion. I'd like to. I feel like maybe decades ago.
Yeah, maybe we don't know.
Yeah, maybe decades ago, maybe there were schools who actually pulled it off. I have no idea. Anyways, don't go anywhere.
The night is almost done, but conversations are never done on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Join Jude from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Let's Talk weekdays.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162. That is 0817-001-8162. And let us connect you to your customers.
It's natural to have different ideologies. We tend to see things from different perspectives. So, share your views on the sunny side as we make room for philosophical, ethical, and thought-provoking discussions. The sunny side, 12.
Get in tune with the trending stories. Have conversations with the experts. Ask the questions you've always wanted to and get a bite at lunch. The Midday Dialogue gives the opportunity to explore. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. weekdays on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Structure,
Lease,
construction,
edifice,
infrastructure,
masterpiece,
Residential, industrial, commercial.
define, design, refine. Architects World. Delving into the field of design. Opening the mind to possibilities. Highlighting opportunities for everyday living. Architects World. Tuesdays 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. It's Architects World 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam Oracle Chinedu. Architect Bozimo is still right here. Well, owing to attacks on different police formations, police stations have been burnt down. Architect Bozimo believes it is time for reforms. You know, we need to set them up, but give them not just a facelift, but something completely different, you know, to redefine what it means to be a police officer, to help change policing. So after the storm, police station reform is our focus. Well, like I said, Bozimo, you know that this would need some money.
Always. And the thing is, money is never enough for everything.
Truly.
But not a single one of us doesn't spend money on what we consider the priorities. I would argue that keeping society safe should be, and indeed is, the number one priority according to the constitution of the country. So every other thing should be secondary to that. And it's not even just providing the money, providing the necessary intellectual thought and process to ensure that that money yields the best outcomes. I would say, with the kind of things going on in policing right now, you have things like we've heard recently about body cams becoming more popular.
Yeah.
You have drones. You have all sorts of technology, the computers, the onboard tablets and all that. You need to have a lot of consideration for those systems, those facilities, and how they'll be maintained and charged and all that. Then the vehicles themselves, properly maintained on the station premises or elsewhere. When people come in, they must feel safe. They must feel that the police is there to help and serve rather than intimidate. So part of this reform that I imagine would be also to educate the police too about how best to thrive in this improved environment, because these facilities don't run themselves. You can't walk into an empty station and have any interaction. So the people, the police and their support staff are primary and central to any form of reform we're discussing.
All right. I would like to hear from you. Have you visited a police station? What did you notice? If you had the power to change something, what would it be? And, I don't know, just out of curiosity, Architect Bozimo and I would like to know, do you know any school that has sent their students on an excursion to a police station, maybe decades ago or even recently? Please share that story with us. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. And the female caller line is 0817-923-0009. WhatsApp and Telegram 080-903-06416. Please turn off your radio as you call us. Now, I know someone who said he went to a police station. It seemed it was recently renovated or something. I don't know, but it was really looking good and
Decent.
clean.
Okay.
Which to him was, well, out of place. I'll share that story after this call. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, Sam and Bozimo.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Vic, calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
Okay, you said what I would like to change. Though, the only time I visited the police station was when I had an issue,
Okay.
an accident issue anyway, and it was like a hell somehow for 3 hours I spent there. The cell was nothing to write home about. But what I would like to say right now is, first, what you're talking about, using the police station, a good police station is good, or reform or model police station. But when you're talking about a lot of how the policing itself, the attitude of police, because that is what has angered the society as it stands now. The society is bitter about police, the policing system, and the police structure. An average society man sees the police as a bully, and the police sees them as prey. So what will be the connectivity between the police and the society? Because as it stands now, the society is totally and completely angry with the policing system of this society, of Nigeria.
Well, you see, what you're saying, hello, it's a known fact, and we're really not arguing because I completely agree with you. But you see, programs like this exist to correct that problem. So even though we agree that it happens, we kind of have to move past that. We have to fix it.
Good.
And
good. That is why the attitude of police force, yes, it is good building a good policing structure, the modesty of police stations and all the rest. But when you still have the same attitude of the police personnel,
so the last time you visited, the last time you visited the police station, what did you see that you didn't like besides the attitude of the people, the structure, the building itself? If you had the power to change something, what would you have wanted to change?
Okay, seriously, it was a sham. Let me be sincere, because I spent hours there inside the cell itself. In a broad daylight, it was 2 hours. I spent about 3 hours there in the cell, and it was like I spent the whole night in the broad daylight. I was being bitten by mosquitoes was just in the cell, as completely dark and horrified and dirty. In fact, it's not even good. In fact, it's not even good for a human being to be there. That's the truth. When you see the foreign police cells, how they look like, and you compare with the Nigerian.
Thank you very much. So the cells, that one not working for him. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, have you been to a police station?
Yep.
Can you share your?
I like this your program. If I go straight to the point, if I have opportunity to change so many things at our police station, the place our police station normally resides, the situation, I don't like it. That is one. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I said if I have opportunity to change so many things, mostly place they approve for police station, I don't like it.
Okay, the location.
Yeah, the location.
Why?
For example, you see a place, a police station will be at the middle of people's house. Can you hear me?
What do you mean at the middle? What does that mean?
If you say a police station is not supposed to be like in the middle. of a house in middle. That is not centralizing a place.
Okay, I think I get it. Well, as the architect, whether citing a police station, is it?
Right. Typically, when you are laying out a town or a city, you have your residential, your offices, your industrial. Then you have those civic facilities. You have your courts, you have your police.
Yeah.
Now, in some planning theories, you want to put those facilities, your courts, your police stations, your firefighting, all in a zone.
Yeah.
But in some other cases, like what we have here, you have people, some of them just came up from those colonial days. So this is a chance. If we're going to take that look, we might reassess some of the position.
Is it a problem if a police station is in a residential?
If it's properly designed, I don't think that should be a problem.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, this is Clive on the line.
Did you say? Okay.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
This is Clive on the line.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the good job you're doing on the show. But I have been to a police station, and the first thing I noticed was there was no parking space. You can't park in the premises, you have to park outside.
Okay.
And as usual, your vehicle, parking of the vehicle is at the owner's risk. And then when you walk into the police station, you are treated as a suspect. You can't even report what you want to report. You are already a suspect to the crime. Even if it's you who was robbed, you are number one suspect.
Wait, please. You will continue the story. You parked in front of a police station.
Or nearby.
And it was still at owner's risk.
No, of course.
Yes, it's at owner's risk now. The police will not take care of your vehicle. Nobody will take care of your vehicle. You will take care of if you go down, you don't see your vehicle, there's nothing you can do about it because there are no parking spaces.
From the site planning, there's always failure.
Okay. So you can't even, if you make a mistake of saying you want to excrete or defecate, that's the worst thing you ever experience because it's just go back inside. The site of the washrooms is an eyesore. In as much as I know that they have their own special places where they go that's neat, but they will not take you to those sites. They won't tell you to go there. Then the cells are nothing to write home about. They are so filthy. They make one sick. The clothes the people in there wear, from if they wear it in the morning, in the afternoon, it's as if it hasn't been washed in 1 week. Then there's no interrogation room. They might just have one office there like that, where they would interrogate you. And all the things we're watching, the whole Nollywood movies, is actually how you're being interrogated. I don't even think they record anything. Most times your statements, they will even write your statement for you and then torture you and write what they want. Write what they want you. They want they will not be the one telling you what happened and then tell you to sign it. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, it is bad from your story, and we know that it connects to reality.
So, from the first person who expressed deep reservations about behavior, I'll only say this: you wouldn't believe how the impact or effect architecture can have on behavior.
Yeah,
good architecture tends to make you act better.
Of course.
Mediocre or bad architecture can bring out the quote-unquote beast in you. So this is why we're having some of these conversations. What ought to be in place? It's not going to be a silver bullet that will automatically make people better, but they will have less of an excuse to behave the way they do.
All right. Hello, good afternoon. I think of the lady who parked her car, went in to report something. Oh, there was a robbery in my neighborhood. And say, okay, write statement. And she's done. And she doesn't see her car anymore. She has to go back and write that.
And where did it happen? Outside your place, That's just...
Oh, hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
I'm your best.
Have you been to a police station?
My brother, I've been there severally. It was an eyesore.
Okay.
Honestly, if the masses could not talk to the people that is handling this police action now, I'm telling you that every young hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think that every young youth you see now, ask him if he has a gun, who will he attack? police.
Yeah, we get
that's not the
Honestly,
we get it, but hold on. Hello.
That's not the point, sir.
Hello?
Okay, so you're
He's
missing the point.
entirely.
You are missing the point. Actor Bozimo is an architect. You can tell by mentioning his occupation before his name. And so if we were to help rebuild
the situation as it is,
basic, what would we do?
and we cannot underscore the fact that attacking the police is a crime.
It is.
And it must not happen. No matter what grievance we have, we need to solve it properly.
All right. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What a very good program you were anchoring this afternoon.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Joel from Bury.
Okay, so Joe, what did you notice?
Yes, I know there's on your guest there try to correct the other person that talks about the location of police, where it is sited. Actually, if you come to Bury, because I wanted to say, where the police station is situated is very, very important. But putting other things that will make it secure, which is very paramount too. If you come to Bury and see where the police station is sited, very close to the road, the only thing I observe most times is we say you don't follow the other path, follow the other side for some time now. So if the police station is situated like that in every part of the state, you will see that it's very easy for all these people we are talking about to just easily, come in and do what they want to do. It should be in a place where it is well secured. And secondly, we're not talking about structure per se, although structure is also important. But what about the mindset of this person? I know that from time to time, they will tell you they are training them, they are giving the orientation. That is very, very important. From that, I say they want to recruit this kind of person. They check their academic qualification and all that, where they come from and all that. Because these are things that, because when you are a police officer and you don't treat people well, and people have the opportunity like this, these kind of things that we are seeing in the country.
All right,
so
we get the point, and we appreciate you for pointing that out. But you see, our focus is on the structure. We're not saying what you've said is not important, but we kind of are looking at the structure
and how it can enhance police activity.
Yeah.
That's really what this is about. The grievances, I told you, I've received police brutality myself. Most people have, but it's about how we can enhance our police force.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. What's your name?
Bernard.
Okay, go ahead.
Calling from Bonny.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I'm an ex-police officer, resigned 1998.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes. So, there's something I observe. I don't know whether if they have reformed it now. When I was in the force. That is, in every police station, they will only mount only one person as a station guard, either a corporal or a sergeant. So if something happens that will say they want to attack police station, the question is, can that one station guard be able to safeguard the station? That is one. Another one is, in every police, it's only at the department, at police command, that is BO, that you see men on standby, or in area commander standby. Now that this is happening in this manner now, I'm suggesting that they ought to have standby men, for about 10 to 15 men, fully armed, in all the police stations, not only to put one man as a station guard. So that's the observation that only one man at the station as a station guard, and they're only at the and the area commander standby, where you see men on standby. So for now, I'm suggesting that for them to forestall some of all this, so that, or if they want to attack police station, some on standby, if they are up to 10 to 15, they can withstand those boys till when police will reinforce and come. They shouldn't be keeping only one man
you very much for sharing that. Now, even though I understand, what he's saying, I think technology can solve this problem.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Charles.
All right, Charles. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm happy with the kind of topic being discussed today in terms of restructuring the police. I think outside the building, I think the most important thing, like someone actually called and said, was the mindset of this people, or the mindset of this people. If you have the beautiful structure out there, and you don't have people to run it properly, you will get to where we are today. And secondly, I think another thing we need to do a whole lot of restructuring. Yeah, I know we are talking about the Nigerian police force, but we should go to other security outfits or whatever it is. We need a constitution that gives the police to the people, not the people in power. And that's where the problem is.
Right.
So when you talk about policing, we will need people who understand people, who know how to manage people, and who know how to treat issues.
Okay.
Not people who are being sent or who are being, let me use the word, manipulated by the higher mighty in power. And that's where we get to where we are.
Thank you very much. Now, even though the mindset is important,
completely,
there's a certain behavior that can be handled by the environment.
Completely.
No matter how unsavory I am, there are certain places where I cannot just throw
items.
Yeah, like I finished with sausage roll or whatever. There's a particular place I will find myself.
You put it in your hand,
yes,
and keep walking past.
And nobody will tell me.
Exactly. And that is the point and the power of good architectural design. And for that gentleman who talked about how at this point we have to beef up security, I completely agree. But like you said, this is a time to put things like surveillance, CCTV, not just near the station, but from all approaches, so that there is early warning. But the fundamental thing is that we cannot have our police as victims and as targets. And when we have unfortunate situations where stations are destroyed, we shouldn't just do the same poor thing again. We should do it better. It doesn't have to go to X world standards, but what we've got before is not serving the purpose anymore. So we can start in phases to improve our facilities. But yes, these persons who operate inside there also have to think that they are there to preserve the rights of the populace. And when they do that, then they will have this very healthy collaboration between the people and the police for our collective good.
All right, thank you very much, Akita Bozimo. As always, it's been a wonderful time speaking with you. If you'd like to share your social handles?
Oh, sure. I can be reached at AB Bozimo on the major platforms, at AB Bozimo.
All right, 3 o'clock. Well, now brings the news. It's 3 o'clock already. Rivers today. After that, Dio delivers your hard facts. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day.